Hello everyone. Let's meet a hyperglot today, Amrutha Joshi, who calls herself Amrutha Langs. She is an independent translator, interpreter, teacher, corporate trainer, writer, poet, and language learner. She was raised multilingual, converted from a polyglot to a hyperglot by passion, and she is an educator by profession. She was awarded by the Mayor of Mumbai for outstanding contribution in the field of languages and literature in March 2011. She received the Excellence Award for the year 2005-2006 for outstanding multilinguistic skills by the Rotary Club of Metropolitan Mumbai. She has been interviewed on various TV news channels and for various newspapers in India. Join me in the conversation to understand her journey. Welcome, Amrutha.
Thank you. Thank you, Lalita, for inviting me on this wonderful show.
You're welcome. Amrutha, I would like to start by congratulating you for your language course being launched in the UK.
Thank you.
Right. Please tell us more about it.
Sure. So this is a UK-based organization called ASTML, Siri Bloom. And there were some scientists, Dr. Bill Lucas and Dr. Lynn Bianchi, who have been working on these techniques to make learning easy, interesting, faster for pupils. So these techniques are called metacognitive skills.
I see.
And, they had already developed a program for STEM teachers, that is science, technology, engineering, math teachers, on how to make the learning process easier and better for their pupils. So then I was approached by ASTML for developing a program, or rather their question was, can something similar be developed for language learning? I was like, sure, I mean, it sounds interesting, but we will need to put in a lot of research. So after a lot of reading, I mean, I would like to say that it was a new learning experience for me too, because there was something totally different that probably, is it possible that can I use these techniques? And then as I started to study more about it, Lalita, I discovered that, wow, that this is something that I definitely have unconsciously, subconsciously, knowingly, unknowingly used. I have used these techniques to make my language journey easier. And then came the time to, when I said yes to this project, then came the time that the entire research that and the things that I read, I had to put it in words, and with a lot of background papers, a lot of video tutorials. Finally, it's everything uploaded. The course has been completed and launched in UK, and they are soon going to be launching it in India.
In India also.
Yes.
Okay, great. So this will be available online, right? Globally? Or how it will
It's
be?
a completely how to teach languages. And the interesting part is that it could be any language, and the medium of teaching could be any. So it could be a Marathi teacher teaching Hindi language, or it could be a French teacher teaching German language. So it is for any language teacher, this course, but the course is in English, and it will help you, it will guide you. It is for teachers on how to make language teaching or language learning easier and faster and better using metacognitive techniques.
Great, great. Yes, we are really looking forward to it for the launch in India. Now, Amrutha, I'm curious to know, why do you call yourself Amrutha Langs?
Yeah, I have got really crazy questions around that, because sometimes people think that am I not Indian, or sometimes people think that, okay, am I married to non-Indian, or I don't know, they come up with all the possible curious reasoning. So Langs is languages, and way back, I'll take you in flashback. So way back in 2003, when I was supposed to make my first email address. So I had an email address before that, but there was something called as a professional email address, like my very, very first email address that I should have, like a nice one with a proper name and all. there were a lot of discussions that were going on at my place. And that is the time my granddad, my mom's dad, so he did not understand computers at that point in time, but he asked me just one question: Amrutha, just tell me something. Is it going to be something that is going to describe you? Is it going to say or talk about your identity? Is it? I'm like, yes, it is going to be my identity. Okay, so you should have something that speaks about yourself rather than just adding a surname. You should have something that, what do you want your audience or your people to ask questions? What questions do you want diverted towards? So I was like, yeah, I'm into languages. So yes, languages. Then you should have something of that sort in your name. And that is the time the Langs word was coined. When I had my first email address as Amrutha Langs @gmail. Then it started with, then came the social media, and that time it was Orkut. And then when I wanted to create my first Orkut profile, it was Amrutha Langs. And then the Facebook came as Amrutha Langs, and then it became as Amrutha Langs everywhere. So that's Amrutha Langs' journey. And the interesting part is that, yes, today, I mean, I really feel good. Like, okay. And I'm also proud of the fact that in 2003, when brand management was not that popular, I got those lessons from my granddad. And today, I really feel proud that, yes, I don't have to give my identity. I don't have to say that my religion or my caste or my surname or my maiden name or nothing. It is simply Amrutha Langs. I'm an Indian. I'm a language professional. Or for that matter, I'm a human. And that's all that matters, right? Especially in today's world, when there are so many crazy things happening. So yeah, so that's what Amrutha Langs is.
That's a wonderful story. Thank you.
Thank you.
But Amrutha, you are an economics graduate. So how did you take up a career in languages?
Yeah, so well, there is also an interesting story to it. What has happened is, I was in Sophia's till my, I did my 11th and 12th standard from there. And then I was doing, while I was studying my first year in arts, what I discovered is my passion is languages. That is the time that I had already decided, because I had already completed a lot of levels from Max Muller Bhavan. I was also completing my French, which I had already started in school days. And while all these things were happening, I was getting curious about Japanese language. And that is the time I had discovered that Mumbai was becoming very difficult for me to travel. And there was a decision that I had to go to Pune to study Japanese language, Pune being Pune and having all the possible, it's a language hub. So I have a special place in my heart for Pune. And so all these things were happening. And that is the time I decided that I had to do distance education and for my basic graduation. And if I had to pursue my graduation as a distance education student, the options that I had were very few. And so the choice was economics, because that was the only subject that I really loved apart from languages. And then I was like, there is a practical knowledge that will help me in future. I mean, understanding economics is any day good. I mean, for anyone. So yeah, that is how I took BA Economics, because I had to do distance education. And then I was learning languages like a free bird, because first year I took out my name midway through from my college, and I started doing distance education from Mumbai University. And meanwhile, had enrolled in Pune. So I was doing some courses in Pune, some courses in Mumbai, traveling by Mumbai-Pune Asiad bus service, making friends with even the bus drivers, conductors, and all the passengers, and in Pune, and enjoying my language journey. And that is why the BA Economics and the languages learned from the respective consulates or privately were achieved.
That's great. Amrutha, because of your strategies, many of your students have, won scholarships, or they've got awards, or they've got good jobs also. So we would like to know about your strategies. I'm sure they will be helpful to Many.
Yeah. To talk about strategies, it was more of a fun class. So most of the times I used to ask my pupils, my students, to close their books, their workbooks, their notebooks, their textbooks, and we used to be just talking and having fun. So it was either singing songs or translating even Hindi movie dialogues for that matter.
Oh, okay.
So, and sometimes the students might have gone wrong while translating. Maybe they might have not used the correct grammar pattern, or they could have used the dictionary to write to translate the exact words. But I used to encourage that for a simple reason, that once they gain that confidence, once they start enjoying the language and they gain the confidence, they can explore and they can become independent in the language. So my whole agenda was always that you should not be dependent on the teacher for your answers. You should just know where to find the right answers, because tomorrow you might get stuck somewhere and I might not be around and I might not be the greatest teacher. But all that I can do is, even I have a limited set of skills and limited set of knowledge. So you should just know how to find your answer. And if you know that, and that is true for anything, right? Not just language learning, but any journey, anything that you're learning. So
Correct.
That was my whole agenda. And then we used to have fun and we used to be talking and singing songs, because I always believe, like, as babies, when the babies or the kids or the toddlers, when they start talking, Badbad Gita. So the whole agenda or the whole point being that the kids can gain confidence. They develop their pronunciation, they develop accent, they understand words, not necessarily understanding grammar patterns and by hearting the rules or conjugations, but simply by Jack and Jill went up the hill to Jack and Jill went up the hill. Went is the past tense and to go is the infinitive form. No, it comes much later. And at that time, when something comes naturally to you, you start to find fault even if you say it. So today, if I make a mistake, I know that I have said it. I'm not able to recollect probably what I want to say, but I at least know that I have made a mistake. And that's the biggest achievement, I would say.
Yes, certainly. To know the mistakes is much better.
Yes.
And you mentioned somewhere that you have theoretical and practical knowledge in some languages. So can you explain to us what exactly it means?
So what happened, since I'm a multilingual, I'm a polyglot, many a times when I used to be with my bunch of friends or in groups, people used to make me say instantly some words like, okay, now tell me what is French, what is to eat in French, or what is computer in German, what is phone in Japanese, what is light in Spanish, whatever, XYZ. And I used to sometimes get stuck, obviously me being human and having a human brain. And people used to be like, really, you don't know these languages, It's like, no, that's not right. And that is the time I decided that I should put it in the correct way. People should not be misguided that, okay, I'm a polyglot. That means, oh, yes, she knows all the languages fluently. I have theoretical and practical knowledge. So in some languages, practical, that is, I have used those languages. I have taught those languages. I have worked in those languages as a translator or interpreter. I have been to those countries, visited those countries and been with the locals. Whereas some languages I have never used till date. So that knowledge remains very much bookish for me because I have studied by myself. I have taught to myself. I don't know if it is right or wrong. There has been no teacher for me for those languages. So yes, I don't know. I'm not sure. So yes, but I have knowledge of that language because I understand the grammar rules. I understand what the language is. I have tried to read small books from that language, which is my favorite. I think so. The most important thing, which has always been a very crucial part for me of my language journey, of my language learning journey, of my language teaching journey, or language digging and exploring journey, is are these two things. One being reading books. I love reading books, and I try to read all the possible language books. I might be slow in some languages, I might be real fast in other languages, but I always make an effort to read a book in that language. And because what books can give you, what the world that books shows you is completely different. It enhances you, and it grows. It makes you more mature in the language every single time you read it. And even if, I don't mind going back to the book 100 times, because I'm sure 101 times you have read the book, but when you go back the 102nd time, you are going to find something new there. And the second thing that I love doing is singing songs. I have a terrible voice. I'm not a good singer, but I'm not a bathroom singer. I still sing in front of everyone, and I make my students sing, and I just sing. I mean, the audience has to listen to me. There's no choice. Because, and I have always told my students as well, that if you want to learn a language, or if you want to gain confidence in a certain language, or if you just want to gain confidence, I mean, forget learning languages, but whichever language you speak, which is your mother tongue, whichever is your mother tongue, you want to gain that confidence to speak in front of 100 people, I think singing is the best thing, and we have really, we as in, not just we as in Indians, but we as in the entire human race, we have like really hyped it, like saying that, okay, Avaz Sundar Paiji, you should have a good voice to sing. It's obviously, I mean, to be a good singer, you have to have a good voice, but not everyone wants to be a singer. So who says that you shouldn't sing? I say that you should sing. Everyone must sing, and especially when you are learning a language, it is so important, because singing songs makes you happy. That gives you confidence to make mistakes. Mistakes is part of the journey. And I would say that till the time there is no scope to make mistakes, you're not able to learn. So there has to be ample of scope and ample of opportunities to make mistakes, because that is the time we are going to learn.
Correct. Well said.
In fact, I would like to share one thing. I remember in my initial interviews, it was a Doordarshan Hello Sakhi interview, and it was like it's absolutely live, and you get phone calls and you have to answer live, absolutely. And it was my very first time, and I made certain mistakes in that interview. I still recollect that, but that was a learning process for me. So for some people, it was more like, "Are tipat chukli, huh?" And for me, it was like, yes, me chukle, म्हणून मी सुधारले. That is how I repaired my mistakes. That is how I corrected my mistakes. So, criticism is part of any journey, any learning experiences, to any. So you can't achieve, or you can't be successful till the time you are open-minded to criticism, you're open to making mistakes. And you take that as a positive feedback. You're not going to get every time positive feedback. So whatever feedback it is, you should take it positively, or convert it in your mind as being positive. And just try not to repeat those mistakes, and that will help you in any journey, especially in languages.
Languages, right?
Yes.
So I would like to know which languages did you learn in the institutions, and which languages are self-taught?
Yes. So my French was at Allianz. German was at Max Muller Bhavan. Japanese I have learned at a couple of places in Mumbai and in Pune. Then Spanish I have learned in Mumbai at this institute. Italian at Indo-Italian. Russian at India-Russia Cultural Center, Cultural Center in Mumbai, and Cultural Center of Russia. I'm so sorry, Cultural Center of Russia. And I also did in Pune University. I did some courses in Pune University under Thakar sir. And so it was a wonderful experience for all these languages. Chinese as well. I had a very nice tutor in Pune, Bhide sir, and he taught me really well. So all these languages and all these fantastic teachers and gurus that I have got for all the languages have really made me the person that I am today. I'm really thankful for to them. I have also got the opportunity to teach under Savita Kelkar madam. Though I did not learn from her as a student, but I learned from her as a teacher, which is so important,
As a teacher.
Yeah. So to grow under some such big dignitaries and such awesome teachers, and I am really privileged and honored to be their students and blessed to be their student. Apart from that, for other languages, I might not had teacher, but I have had friends who have taught me certain languages, who were native speakers of that language and who have taught me that language. All the other languages are self-taught. So they were sometimes through the internet, sometimes so internet became my guru. Sometimes YouTube or Google became my guru, or sometimes even my friends who are native speakers of that language became my guru. So that's how I learned the languages.
Great.
And today I'm learning. Sorry.
Please continue.
And today I'm learning language of children, because after becoming a mother, there was a new journey that has started. I'm in that process. So, and now I'm a mother to an 11-year-old who is in pre-teens. So learning new language every single day.
That is the toughest language to learn.
Yeah.
So I'm aware that institutions have a prescribed format for teaching languages or learning languages. They have books, they have various other things, resources. So how is it about self-taught languages? For example, I'm learning a new language. So how do I find the resources? Where do I go? So can you give some tips?
Yeah, sure. So today, in today's world, finding resources is so much easier. I mean, I remember way back then, when I was learning French or German, this is in 2000, to find a dictionary, I had to, from Dadar, I had to go to VT, Strand Book Depot, and get my dictionaries. Or, so simplest of the things was so difficult. Or we had to get enrolled in the Max Muller Rowan Library or Allianz Library, just 3 books at a time. And coming from that era, and in today's world, when you have your phone in your hand and you get everything at a tip of your finger, it's so much easier. There are such wonderful apps, and one app that I really like, I was introduced to that app through my child, Duolingo, and I really love that app. I don't know. I mean, probably you won't gain too much fluency in your language or proficiency in your language through that app. But to learn the basics, I think it's a wonderful app, because you can practice your vocabulary, you can practice your basic grammar skills. So for basic language learning, I think it's a very good app. Apart from that, I think so. There are many YouTube channels. There is 101 I don't recollect, pod or something, Japanese pod or something. There is a name, and there are similar ones which are really good. Apart from that, there are abundant internet. So in fact, on internet, you have to be wise enough to choose which is correct, which is good, which is wrong.
Exactly.
That is the problem. But otherwise, there are books as well. My strategy has always been, you should have a good book in your hand. A book as in a course book, okay, which teaches you the rules of the languages, so that you can verify, and then you can explore on the internet or on various apps. and then you can join a class, because many a times, especially when there are young learners, like school going learners, the parents are generally very curious and inquisitive, and they want to know as to what should be the right approach. And for them especially, I would say that instead of immediately enrolling in a classroom, you can just get a couple of books or download certain material from internet. Go on internet, download an app, let the child explore, understand what is a language, which language the child wants to learn. Because till the time, it is more to do with, okay, my friends are learning French, I want to learn French. Or I love Spanish songs, I want to learn Spanish. Or I love Ninjago, I want to learn Japanese. So it is, instead of just that, the kids can know the language. And when I say know the language, I mean to say they understand the culture, not the entire literature or anything, but just the basic culture. What is Japanese language? Okay, Japanese language is about teas and sakura and sushi and ninjas and karate, and there's so much more to it, right? So probably, if even if they understand these tiny things, that will make them take a better decision.
Correct.
They can start relating to the language.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
even if they understand basics, okay, what are my strengths? Am I able to practice? Am I willing to practice the Japanese script? Because it is going to be a lot of characters. Am I willing to put in that much time and effort to practice that? Or when it comes to French, am I willing to practice my pronunciation skills? When it comes to German, am I willing to practice my grammar skills? Because there is a lot of grammar when it comes to German or Russian language. So these are the tiny things which, if you go on internet and find out these things first, this is like the homework that should be done before jumping into a language. And then you decide that which language you want to learn. And if you're taking a decision for your profession, then the decision should be made very wisely. You should understand what is happening. You should understand the economics. You should understand the economy. You should understand the politics, political science. What is happening in today's world, the global perspective. So if you understand what is happening globally, you understand the business side of it, then you'll be able to take a wise decision that, okay, today possibly, if I learn a language like Korean or Mandarin or Japanese, then it will possibly give me more business opportunities as a translator, rather than just jumping into French, because possibly French and German as languages have been here around here for quite some time now. There are a lot of translators. Do I stand a chance amongst those 100 already professional and senior translators? No, then probably I should create a niche for myself. So these are certain things that the person who is going to jump into language learning should consider.
Wow, that's I mean, a lot of tips and a lot of considerations for a student, right? Now, please tell us about your institute for learning languages.
Yes, so yes, it's in Mumbai, and I used to teach languages. At the moment, I have stopped teaching languages for a simple reason that I am homeschooling my son. And as well as that, I'm focusing my knowledge and my strengths and my time and energy towards taking up projects which will also enlighten me and improve my knowledge as a language person. At the same time, so there is some growth. I always feel that after some time, it becomes very monotonous for you. Like when I used to do corporate translations, after a point in time, it became like machine work for me. I was just doing it. I knew which words are what, and I was just doing that. So after a point in time, I stopped doing that and I moved to literary translations. Because these are the things which make you grow. After so when you become too comfortable in a certain thing, you start to take it for granted, and that is the time you should just give yourselves a kind of jhatka, like a shock, and make a new change in your life, so that you understand what is happening around you, what are the new things that you should be learning, and how you should be improving yourselves. That is the time I decided that anyways I had decided that as a family had decided to homeschool our child, and I had to give more time for that. And taking up new projects. So that was one of the projects that I had taken 2 years back. Was I translated poems written by Shri Jnaneshwar Mule sir, who is a very senior diplomat in our country, and he had written his entire journey in Hindi language in poetic form. So he has actually described probably a war that was going on that he had witnessed in poetic form in Hindi, and such poems he had written about entire journey, right from him getting into IFS to his entire journey as a diplomat. All the poems in Hindi translated to English. So it was just Hindi to English translation. But trust me, believe me, I have grown leaps and bounds after working on that project. Then I started working on metacognition. So this, the course that was recently launched in UK. You know, I have decided I'll take up one project at a time, which will make me grow as a language person, through which I can get tiny, I can probably, you know, as a very tiny particle in the society, make a little bit change in the society and get some good stuff in our society. That's the whole agenda behind doing this. And till the time I was taking my classes in Dadar Shivaji Park, I used to run Academy of Foreign Languages and Culture, under which I have taught a lot of students. So it was school, college students to air hostess training, to corporate trainings, and all the possible language related teachings and trainings is what I've done.
Great. So basically you like to leave the comfort zone to find new horizons.
So when I become too comfortable, I know that there is time for a change, and which should, so yes, definitely what I'm doing, I continue doing it. But apart from that, I try to bring something new in my life, so that, you know, it is something that keeps you passionate about doing new things, you know, and it keeps you towards, you know, achieving something. Like you start putting yourselves into that, it's like challenging yourselves, and when you challenge yourselves, you know that you want to achieve something further, or you will learn something new, you make mistakes, there's something always new, and I think that growth is what every individual needs. So that's as simple as that.
Great. Since you have been into technical translations and literary translations also, so I mean, it is difficult maybe for you to tell which one you enjoy more. Or
I enjoy literary more though. I'm a very literary kind of a person. So since I love reading books and I love reading poetries, so I'm a very much of a poetic person when it comes to expressing something, and when it comes to reading. So yes, definitely when it comes to translations, I love
literary
more than
commercial.
Though obviously I cannot deny the fact that to become a successful translator, initially for my 10 years, I think so, I have only focused on corporate work, and I've literally day and night and 365 days I've done only corporate work, because I mean, it's a sad fact, but that is what at the end of the day will become your bread and butter, and not the poetry translation. So yeah.
Okay. I think there was a program where you had sung various popular Marathi songs into various languages. So, I mean, I would like to know about the program also. And I would also like to know, did you translate these songs yourselves, or you had a team?
No, I did it by myself. It was for Diwali Pahat program in Pune.
Oh, okay.
And I remember it was, so on stage we were, there was Sandeep Khare ji, Salil Kulkarni ji, Sudhir Gadgil ji, Chenni Masa interview getla, who interviewed me. And it was a great opportunity for me. I mean, these dignitaries. I was this was in the year 2000, was Diwali of 2008.
Okay.
Am I audible? Am I audible? Internet? Yes? Okay, on. Okay. Yeah. So it was 2008 Diwali Pahad. And it was a wonderful experience because A, I was interviewed. B, I had translated some poems, poetries, kavita written by Sandeep Khare, Ayushar Bolu Kahi, and I had tried to put it in a very humble way, certain poems in front of them. It was a good experience, and especially to present in front of Punekars is always. I always get tense to when I have to present it in front of Punekars.
So we would like to have a jhalak of your song.
बापरे, मला आता आठवत नाहीये, but I can definitely, at the end of our probably today's conversation, I will sing a song that is not by Sandeep Khare, a song that has been a famous song, Hakuna Matata from Lion King movie, which everyone knows, and I have translated it from. So I start singing it in first language and it ended in the 20th language.
Oh, wonderful!
Yes. Yeah. So each and every sentence I keep changing the language, and I think you'll enjoy that. So if you want, I can sing it now or at the end of our interview. Anyhow.
Yeah, at the end also is fine. No problem.
Okay.
Yes. Then you were invited to Marathi Sammelans in Europe.
Yes.
So how was the experience?
Yes, it was a very good experience. So in 2008, European Marathi Sammelan, Paris, I was invited there and interviewed at that Sammelan. During that European Marathi Sammelan, I had I got an opportunity to write and publish a small guide in 7 languages, a guide to guide. It was more to do with, it was like a tourist guide, which had phrases written in 7 European languages. Simple phrases like, I want to eat this, or how do I find my way to this place, directions, etc. in 7 languages. And that was somewhere a beginning to my book, which was later on published in 2013, Beyond Souvenirs. Beyond Souvenirs is a book which is again a traveler's guide. It is something which makes you think beyond souvenirs. So when you go to a country, you think beyond souvenirs. You travel there, you be with the locals, you eat the local food, you enjoy the local music, the culture, the people. And I've also written about, I've also translated some phrases which will help with the traveler. Today there is Google Translate, so I think so life is very much easier through Google Translate. But till that time, this book was really useful and helpful, because 20 such countries where English is not spoken, and if you're in such a land, how do you find your way out? The book was about that.
Yes.
So yeah, so I think so European Marathi Sammelan gave me an opportunity, wonderful opportunity. At the same time, also, gave me an idea that I should make a book, a complete book into which was published in 20 languages. So yeah.
Wonderful. So, okay, I would like to know which languages, I mean, if you could mention a few.
Yes. In that book, I have French, German, Japanese, Spanish, Italian, Russian, Chinese. So all these main languages are there. Apart from that, there is also Dutch, there is Swedish. These are the languages which I have incorporated in that book.
I see. So, I mean, just this thought came to my mind. So you were dealing mainly in European languages, right?
Yes. Mostly in European languages, as well as, so I have also learned Urdu, Arabic, and Persian, Farsi. So, my journey in these languages is really very different experience is what I had, because there were many pronunciations which were really difficult for me to pronounce. So as a language, even if I was a very much of a language person, for me to learn these languages was really difficult. Another experience is when I was learning Chinese or Japanese. So that was another different experience, because Japanese was very much like Marathi, and very easy. It was very easy for me to pick up the language where it came for conversations. At the same time, when it came to written part of it, there was a lot of practice that was involved in learning languages, learning that language.
So, did you consider learning other Indian languages? I mean, Marathi, Hindi, obviously,
Yes.
you know.
So I get asked about this a lot. What has happened is, mostly I went in for, so when I learned French, then I was really curious about Spanish and Italian. So I went in for the language families. Correct. And that is how I ended up learning more to do with the brother and sister languages. And my Indian languages were kind of ignored by me. I'm really sorry.
No problem.
but I'm learning one language with my son now. That is something that I think I completely, it did not strike me, or I don't know. It is a really ignored fact that we as humans, many a times, as being privileged humans, we forget. My son is learning sign language, and he made me learn it. So we both are learning now. We have recently started learning sign language.
Kya baat.
And he said that if you really think that you want to be inclusive, and you want to have everyone a part of you, and want to make everyone part of your life, then you should learn either sign language and braille. And that is a time, it struck me that in school level, why doesn't any of the governments include either? So we have a choice between, you want to take entire Hindi or French, you want to take German or Spanish or French. Instead of these choices, I think so at a very primary level, sign language, I think as the kids learn it at a younger age, they will be more inclusive.
Better, yes.
They will be better learners. They are faster learners. So I think sign language should be part of their curriculum. Is a thought that came to my mind, and I was like, I have to start it from myself. So I have to learn that language. And yes, today I feel so good that yes, I'm trying to learn sign language, and me and my son are learning sign language. Both of us, we are learning it together. So
very good. That's a wonderful experience.
Yeah. We are still on alphabets, but we are still learning.
Great. And I would like to know about this Akshara multilingual journal. So are you still involved in?
Yeah. So it all started through Orkut in 2005. On Orkut, I had created a language lovers club. And through that language lovers club, it was an online community. There was a lot of language exchange, and that is the time I discovered that there is a language called Estonian. There is a language called Esperanto, which is not even a language, but Europeans have come together, and it's a language, or it's a mixed breed. It's a mix of a lot of languages. So these are the languages I have never spoken till date, but these are the languages which got exchanged, and I got language tutors as friends who are speaking that language. Yeah. So that is the time when I started documenting each and every person's joke with their names, with their giving them credit for their language joke, or their language idiom, or their language culture. And I started documenting it all together. I got lucky in 2007. I happened to travel to Japan that year in August, and I even gifted my these language journals to their at
Oh.
a high school there, Gakugei Khan High School. So I even gifted them, and they have maintained that in their school library as well. So this was a language journal, which is a edition of all the possible language stuff that was spoken and exchanged between the youth using and learning various languages.
Nice.
I discontinued that later on when social media became a part of us, and when Facebook had so many communities, and people started and stopped rather reading books and journals. So, but this was a very small attempt to not get into too much of professional stuff, too much of nothing to do with exact translations, but more to share language thoughts, more to exchange language learnings, more to do with language experiences. Probably, your language experience was something different. Some other person's language learning experience was different. Someone's language teaching experience was different, probably because they were in a different country, probably they were in a different region, they were in a different state, city. Everything varies. And I think so for languages, all of this should be documented. Even a small mistake made in language learning or teaching should be documented, because it's fun. I think so this language exchange is extremely important. And one more important, really interesting thing that I would like to share is because thanks to this language exchange, I decided to learn guitar in one point in time. So because we used to sing songs, there was language exchange, and that is something that encouraged me to even learn guitar, because I thought that learning Spanish songs without guitar is very dull. And so I started to learn guitar. Then I discovered that Russians are very much into violin, so I think I should learn violin. That is the time I started to learn violin, and then I discovered that I'm terrible at it. So because all that I could play and people could hear were only like a donkey screaming at the top of his voice. So I decided to drop that musical instrument for the sake of harmony. But I think so these are the language experiences, which is extremely important. I used to read a lot about sushi in the Japanese books, but till the time I went to Japan for the very first time. Today in Mumbai we have a lot of Japanese restaurants, but back then there were no Japanese restaurants.
Right.
And I remember in 2007 was my first Japan trip, and I had my first sushi in Japan, and that is the time I discovered that I can't really have something like this. But at the same time, I discovered that there is something called as veg sushi, which is so delicious. And I jumped into the veg sushi or vegan sushi department, because that is something that suited me. At the same time, I discovered that when you are in a different land and the food does not really suit you, it is not good or it is not correct to just make faces or say no. Instead, you can politely, you learn to be polite, you learn to respect other cultures, and this is what language teaches you. So I think so language teaches you more than so it's like I wrote the book Beyond Souvenirs. I should write a book which I'm still working on, Beyond Languages. Beyond Languages is going to be language is not just about hi, hello, how are you, or translating from one sentence to another, one sentence from one language to another language. But language is understanding the culture, understanding the people, understanding their music, at the same time respecting their language, their culture, the people. It's so much more than just hi, hello, how are you. It's so much more than that. Yes. And that is you start to understand that when you go to that land, If you don't get that opportunity, thanks to internet today, you can discover that sitting at your, I call it armchair travel. So you sit on your chair and you open YouTube and you can discover. And I have actually done that during the past 2 years, during COVID and lockdown. We all have done armchair travel, right? So armchair travel and armchair exploration is a privilege today and can be used wisely. Should be used wisely, because today you can really explore so much more when it comes to learning anything and everything. So why just stick to okay, I'm learning French. Comment ça va? Ça va bien? Not just that, yeah. Come on, we grow beyond that. Learn which is your French favorite. I always used to ask my students, so tell me, who is your French favorite French artist? Who is your German favorite singer? So for me, Reinhard May songs, Sommer Morgen is something that I have relished and I have enjoyed. So, which is that? Sommer Morgen. Believe ich dich. So that is something that, I can't recollect that song right now, but that is one song that I have always sung when I was learning German language, or Japanese songs, or Russian poetry, or Sergei Yesenin was a poet which I loved, which I have read again and again. Tolstoy or Pushkin is someone I have read again and again. So this is what is language learning. And that is the time you start respecting other cultures and other languages. I also get asked sometimes, or many a times these days, that should Marathi be made compulsory? Should Hindi be made compulsory? I always have a different opinion on this. You can't make a language compulsory and make someone learn a language forcefully. Which language should be learned, or which language should be given importance or should be respected? It will come once you start respecting your own mother tongue. It comes from there. If you do not know how to respect your mother tongue, you will not be able to respect your other sisters in language sisters, because languages are families. You cannot be that, okay, my Marathi is the best and Maji's Marathi ti Shuddha. It can't be that. There are Marathi sisters which should be respected equally. I do not again believe in Shuddha, Ashuddha, which is, so when it comes to written or Pramana Bhasha, that is something that has to be kept apart from what you and I are speaking today. What you and I are speaking today is not the cleanest and purest form any which ways. So who are we to decide? And why should we get into that debate? For me and for you, it is as simple as, in Puneri language, bhapo, bhavana pohutsaune, I should be able to convey my feelings to you. And if I'm able to do that, I have achieved success. And that is language for me. So that comes with love and respect for a language, for your mother tongue, for your sister languages, instead of having an ego of speaking the purest form. So I am not a person who believes in more to do with purest form. Rather, I strongly believe that if we all start to just talk what comes to our mind and talk with the purest of the intentions, rather than focus on purest of languages, we will be able to have a peaceful community and peaceful planet, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
So this is what I am going to put in my book, Beyond Languages.
Oh yes,
which I am working on.
Yes.
So that's my new project. That's my new project. So after metacognition, which was completed in the last entire year, 2022, my entire focus is going to be on Beyond Languages.
You have been in the language industry for such a long time. So what is the one thing that you would like to change in it?
Yeah. So I think as a language professional, one thing that I would like to change, well, I would like to change the firstly the mentality, the approach of every language learner who is about to dive into this field. Everyone thinks that learning French and German is the only possible thing, because everyone. So I always like to put it as there are a set of languages which are very popular, and there are a set of languages which are in demand. So you should study the business, the market, and then dive into a language. Secondly, you should always also ask yourselves which language do you really like. It shouldn't be like, okay, my elder sister learned French, my neighbor is learning French, my school is offering French, so I'm learning French. It can't be that. It has to come from here. Till the time it doesn't come from here, you can't learn a language. So it has to come from here, it has to come from here, it has to come from both the places. Because till the time you study the market from here, until the time you ask your Veda man je asta na tela ki which language you want to learn, what is something that you really like? Is it the croissant, or is it what is it that you sushi? What is it that you really enjoy? Till that time, the answer you answer yourselves these questions, so you can make a questionnaire for yourselves. I used to, before, so when I used to take my classes, run my academy, I used to make the pupils who used to come for enrollment as to ask them these questions. It was like a questionnaire. You answer these questions for yourselves, and then you make a choice which language you want to learn. So these generalizing things, I think, so that mentality should be changed. Second thing is the approach. The approach that, in schools especially, the approach till date in many schools, it's changing now slowly, but still in many schools in India, the approach is that if you know English well, then they make you take French. If your English is not so good, then so it all depends on the marks that you achieve in English. I would like to ask a very simple question. Does every French person know English that when he wants to go for learning German or Spanish language? Then why is it that every Indian has to know English in order to learn any foreign language? It shouldn't be a criteria. So I think so that should be changed, because in order to learn a language, you should know one language, I mean yourself, and you should learn another language, right? Okay, possibly because the teacher and the student's medium of communication should be similar. That is why you should have something in common to understand. But that too, I don't think should be a hindrance, because if the teacher is able to, make the class interactive, use good props, and make the entire classroom interactive, I think so you can learn a language without having to dive into first English. And because what happens, I have noticed, especially in Maharashtrian children also, that Marathi speaking pupils then have somewhere, they have this fear in their mind that I remember even when I used to teach, and till date I get these questions over the phone that ma'am, मला भाषा शिकायची आहे, माझी मराठी तितकी चांगली नाहीये. You do not need to know a language well. Sorry, Marathi नव्हे, माझी English तितकी चांगली नाहीये. Sorry, my English is not that great, so I don't know if I can learn a language. So these are the misconceptions which should be removed and erased from our society. And I think so every language teacher should make this effort to brainwash the children that firstly just take out all these misconceptions, and then start with a tabula rasa, a complete blank slate, and start learning a language.
Okay. Wow.
So I think so these are the two things, that these are the misconceptions and generalizations that people have in mind, which should be erased. And otherwise I don't think there should be any changes.
Okay.
Our language community is amazing, phenomenal.
Amazing. Yes, that it is. And you mentioned one plan about your book coming out this year, but tell us about your other future plans.
Yes. well, this book I'm working on this year, but future plans, I always take a year at a time. So for this year, I have Beyond Languages in my hand. And so maybe for next year, it will be something else. And after that, it will be something else. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really plan like maybe 10 years ahead. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I mean, I leave it to life to surprise me and take the decision accordingly.
That is great. Well, that is good because every year we will have something new to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yes. Great. So I think we are at the end of the interview. So we would like to hear your song.
Hakuna Matata Nani Hibikinanda. Hakuna Matata Aino Messaggi senza pensieri. La tua vita sarà a chi ora vivrà in libertà. Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata. Che cosa è? Nothing was to motivate you. Wise recliner. Dieses zwei Wörter. Alle deine Probleme. Genau, ne como zum Beispiel, verás, cuando era muy pequeñín, muy bonito, gracias. Notó que su aliento no le olía muy bien, los demás deseaban alejarse de él. Me dolió no tener un amigo fiel. Unigual, was für unigual, sie war katastrophal. Ach nein, so ein Skandal und das ewige Hupen. Sag uns nochmal von den Ständigen. No, Pumba, ni Prijojieszka. Oi. Perlot, Hakuna Matata, Yeter Somebra, Hakuna Matata, Chantang Rongishi, Chansai Kaishu, você deve esquecer, isso é viver, é aprender, Hakuna Matata. En français maintenant, ça mot signifie que tu vivras ta vie sans aucun souci, philosophie, Hakuna Matata. Thank you.
Wow, this is wonderful. We would like to hear more from you next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lalita, for inviting me. I had a wonderful time chatting with you.
Great. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.